Boom. We are live and we are up and running. Guys, tell me if this broadcast is loud and clear. And to be totally honest with you, that's all I really ever want to know, is if we're clear. Tell me if we're clear in the comments below. Tell me if I'm centered correctly up in here. And tell me if the sound is good. You know, the worst possible thing that could ever happen to you is if you forget your PIN code on your phone. Oh my goodness. There is absolutely nothing worse than forgetting your PIN code on your phone, because it causes a variety of damage. It does. Thankfully, I've just now remembered my PIN code. Okay. The secret, I think, is to have a consistent number throughout everything that you do. In the past, remember when there was it was really hot to have an email address and a password and a passcode. And depending on which email address you had a different one for each one. That is discombobulating. That just drives me nuts. Conventional wisdom tells you and I that it's always better to just have one consistent password and passcode throughout everything that you do. That way, you don't forget. Okay? So that helps. It really does. Great. Jump on here real quick, guys. I'm going to suss out this volume before I get into it with you all. And let's see. There's a lot going on. And I'm going to throw in my 2 cents worth up in here momentarily. I'm over here at Sinoson Building, plot number 8585 on the corner of Lucia and Simon. Many of you that follow this broadcast are very familiar with that phraseology. The corner of Lucia and Simon. Lucia is from Kalusha-Wadia Road. Simon is from Simon Mwewa Lane. So we're literally at the corner of Lucia and Simon, this is where we are. This is I work here. I spend most of my time here. This is how it works. I get to work because I'm an early bird. I love coming to the office early. I don't like showing up at 11, 12 o'clock because, half the day is gone, mate. So I try to get here by 7:30, 8 o'clock. I'm here. I do my thing. And then about midday, I go on the street and I vlog. I interact with people. That is the best part of my day. And I've been doing that for years. I've been doing it for years. For years I've been doing this. And I couldn't imagine. And I feel sorry for people that literally sit in an office for 8 hours. 8 hours, you're just sitting on your blessed assurance. 8 hours, you're just sitting on your butt. 8 hours, you're just sitting in a chair. That would drive me nuts. I mean, literally, they would have to commit me, put me in a straitjacket and tell me it ain't so. That's just the way that I roll. Now, of course, if this doesn't work for you, I'm not condemning you. I'm not dissing you for being that way because, we're built differently. Not all of us can roll in the same way. Some people love to sit in a chair for 8 hours. Me, I can't do it. I need to be walking up and down, So as soon as I'm done with this live, I'm literally going to go downstairs and we're going to walk through the market. We're going to walk down the street and I'll show you I will give you a glimpse of my life and how it works here. So here it is. Let me just suss out the volume. My life and how it works here. Great. We're good for sound. We are wired for sound. If you're not from the 80s, you won't know that song. Okay. Right. So guys, we've got lots to talk about. And I do realize, my mother, both my mother and my wife, they get very concerned about me. And they've been concerned about me for years. My wife, as soon as I walk out the door, she calls me, she says, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Honey, I'm 2 steps out of the house. Okay. As soon as I get in my car, my mother phones me. Imwe, ngamuri kui, are you okay? So both my wife and my mother, they constantly say this to me. They say, well, honey, now that you're going into this new office, you have to be careful with what you say. You can't just say anything you want. Okay. You're not just a private citizen now. Now you're representing the city. So, honey, this is my wife. She says this. She says, honey, please, tame your tongue. Be cautious with what you say. Don't just say the first thing that pops out of your mind. Okay. Can we take 10 seconds to think about what we're going to say before we actually say it? That way I don't have to worry about you, she says to me. And of course I'll say to my wife, thank you, dear. I'll do that. The moment I put the phone down, my mother calls me. Imwe. Because that's the first thing my mom does. As soon as I answer the phone, she says, Imwe. and then she goes into this long dissertation on how I should be cautious and careful. So, and the truth is, I will do everything I can to be as cautious as possible. There is one item that I would really love to discuss because this is close to my heart. Many of you know, I grew up old school. Not many people grew up old. No, not many people show that they grew up old school. I came from a school of thought that you had to respect your elders. That's the environment I grew up in. My late father and still my mother today, they drummed that into us. I mean, it was every waking moment. You had to say, yes, sir, no, sir, am quiet. Do you know that in my household, when I was growing up, I only spoke to my father in English. Well, he only spoke to us in English. My mother only spoke to us in Bemba. And we used to have a maid by the name of Esnat who worked for my parents for more than 20 years. God-sent woman. I mean, this woman was the closest thing to Mother Teresa. She was just amazing. By Esnat. She was like my second mother. Well, she only spoke to us in Nyanja. So that's how we learned the 3 languages. We learned English from speaking with my dad. He only spoke to us in English. My mother only spoke to us in Bemba. And the lady who was our maid, she was like our second mother. She only spoke to us in Nyanja. But there's a point. There's a reason I brought that up. What was the point? There's a point behind that. Oh, right. Old school. So my parents always talked about this, this is what I was going to say. Do you know that when I was growing up, anytime I was speaking to my father, I always said to him, yes, sir, no, sir. My father was to me, he looked like a king. He just looked so majestic and I loved talking with him, and he was so funny, but so steady. He just had a quiet, strong resolve about him. I always said to him, yes, sir, no, sir. My mother always would say to us, you say, mkwai. You don't say, kubakalamba. You don't do that. Respect your elders. So the point that I'm making is that I think to some degree we've lost that as a people, especially through this election, the last election that we've just gone through, this 2026 election, has really revealed the character of where our people are morally. And it's a very sad place to be, I will tell you now, because now we're seeing young people, children, that are turning on a camera, and then there's a guardian, there's an elder, there's somebody senior to them that is literally egging them on. You know that word, egging them on? Encouraging them, prompting them, and holding a camera and say, Tukabak bakateka, batuke. Insult the president, insult elders, insult them. Like I'm first in switching it on for. Okay, you ni camera, or like any video first. Okay, let's start recording. Batuke. Insult the head of state. And you've got these little boys, 10, 11, 12-year-old boys, that come in front of a camera and then they will bemoan. They will literally say to you and the camera, insult the president left, right, center, every which way but loose. And they feel fully justified in doing that. My first thought is, what's a 12-year-old doing complaining about the price of mealie meal? A 12-year-old child in this environment should be talking about taking advantage of free education. A 12-year-old child should be talking about taking advantage of free education. A 12-year-old child has no business talking about macroeconomics. A 12-year-old child has no business talking about trickle-down economics and how difficult the cost of living is, even if it is. The child is not there to make his ends meet. It's the guardian that's supposed to do that. So if the guardian feels aggrieved from an economic standpoint, it's the guardian that should be standing in front of a camera and complaining about the economy. Now, take note, complaining, not insulting. When you insult and threaten the head of state, where is the benefit of that? Explain that to me. Because a lot of these people that are encouraging their children, their nephews, their nieces to insult the head of state, almost to the point of threatening the life of the head of state. What shall you gain then? What shall you gain from that when you insult the president? Now, this goes to anybody. Doesn't matter if it's the head of state, a member of the opposition. As long as a person is older than you, don't insult them. You can complain, you can bemoan your economic position and situation that you're in. You can say this, that, and the other is expensive, and you can call for better and higher and more intense. That's fine. But it's never justifiable in any scenario to ever threaten and insult the head of state, which is what these people are beginning to teach our children. The other thing that people are beginning to teach children is this sense of tribalism. Let me tell you, I tell you, I'm 57, boy, I tell you, I look back at my life, the best years of my life when I was a kid. We never talked about tribalism. Never. It never came up. Honestly, I will tell you, I don't know what your experience is because, you know, that famous saying, you can't argue with a man that has an experience. My experience is I never grew up like that. I never had that. But we're raising a generation of young people that are tribally aware, and they are weaponizing their tribe. They're weaponizing it. They're going on social media and they are disdaining other tribes. For what? For what? Now, let me talk to you about political endorsements, because really that's where all of this comes from. And this is a very important conversation to have. There is nothing wrong with endorsing a political figure, a leader that you like, or a leader that you seem to be aligned with ideologically. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I've done it. I've endorsed leaders that I felt that were in line with the way I felt. Not only have I endorsed Hakainde Hichilema, I believe in what he believes. I believe in his trajectory. I believe in where he wants to take this country. I believe in that. I believe in his philosophy, political philosophy, and his ideology. I believe that. So because I believe that, I'm aligned with his political ideology. Therefore, I endorse him. Now, if I see an opponent that I disagree with, and then I vilify and insult that opponent, then I'm not doing the right thing. Here it is, we recently saw the actor by the name of Monde Motale, a man that is very loved in the television fraternity. He's a character on the hit television show Mpali. a show that everybody watches. My wife loves that show. She loves it. And because she loves it, I end up watching it because she watches it. Every night at 9:30, it doesn't matter what we're doing in the house, she will always turn that thing on. And I'm sitting in the living room. What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? So by default, I have to watch that show. Mr. Nguzu, Mr. Monde Mutale, who plays this character, this polygamous character called Mr. Nguzu, decided to endorse a political candidate. It's not the endorsement that is reprehensible. It's not the endorsement that we find wrong. When I say we, I'm talking about the Zambian people. It's the insults that were attached to that endorsement. In particular, I'll never forget Monde Mutale, aka otherwise known as Nguzu, went on a political platform and he used these words. Let me first of all tell you the words he should have used. And then I will tell you the words he actually used. And you will detect the folly. You will see where the anomaly is. You will detect where the wrong part of what he said is. Let me explain what he should have done. What he should have said was, I endorse so-and-so. This is the candidate of my choice. My brothers and sisters, let's rally behind this candidate. I endorse him. Full stop. But that's not what he did. Instead, he went on the attack and he began to vilify the sitting head of state by saying, now, to children that are watching that, young Zambian boys and girls that are looking at a celebrated actor, an actor that everybody watches. There's not a single place in this country where you can go where nobody knows who Nguzu is. Everybody knows him. My pet dog knows Nguzu. Everybody knows him. So here it is, you have a character that is well known across the country and, might I add, very loved. I mean, he's adored by many people. Now, you take the actor who plays Nguzu, stands on a political platform, and then in reference to the head of state, he says, do you see where the problem is? All he should have focused on is, let's vote for the candidate that I'm here for. This is my choice. I'm supporting this one. Let's rally behind this one. But to vilify, to insult, to incite rancor, to incite rancor and malice, to incite young people to rise up emotionally against the sitting head of state by saying, do you know what you're doing? You are proselytizing young minds into disrespecting the head of state. Is it a wonder that now we are seeing young boys and girls insulting the president? Where do you think that comes from? Tell me. Tell me in the comments. Tell me in the comments where you think that germinates from. Where does that originate from? When you see young people insulting the head of state, I always say it this way. When you see a young person talking a certain way, that's simply a reflection of the people that are in that young person's life. My wife and I, we have 4 children, 2 boys, 2 girls. It doesn't matter where they are. The way they talk that way because of us. They talk that way because of me and my wife. So whatever ideology they have springs from us. We were the first people to plant that thought in their head. Us, the parents, the guardians. So if Nguzu can stand on a platform and refer to a sitting head of state and say, Ichichimuntu, what do you think young people are going to say? Young people who adore Nguzu, young people who love that show, young people who elevate and put Nguzu on a pedestal, they will echo his sentiments. They will equally turn on a phone and insult the head of state. They've had their mentor. A lot of people regard Nguzu as their mentor. In Zambia, we say mentor. He's my mentor. No, it's not a mentor. It's mentor. Okay? They've heard their mentor say that. So they simply jump on the bandwagon of insults and they say that about the head of state. What I find reprehensible about Monde Mutale is that when HH won the elections, Monde Mutale turned on a camera, sat in front of a camera, and he gave the most pathetic, the most tepid, the most lukewarm congratulatory message I have ever heard in my life. Brother didn't even know what the hell he was saying. Very blasé, very nonchalantly, lazily, slouched in a chair. Straight. Some of you saw that. This is Nguzu. Elias Monde Mutale. I'm thinking, what the hell are you saying, man? You mean alias? Brother couldn't even say alias. That bothers me, boy. This is Monde Mutale, Elias Nguzu. What are you saying? I think you mean... Oh. That happens sometimes. Tell me we're back. I hate it when it breaks like that. Sorry about that. Let me just double check, make sure we're on. Tell me in the comments if we're still on. Tell me. All right, we're back. So here it is. Before the transmission cut, I was saying that after HH won the elections, this character, Monde Mutale, gave the most lukewarm congratulatory message I have ever seen or heard my whole life. Slouched in a chair, in an armchair, and he says, "This is Monde Mutale, Elias Nguzu." He meant to say alias Nguzu. That's the thing about these actors. I mean, you would think that he would know that. That's basic. Anytime an actor says Elias when it's really alias, there's a problem there. There's a big gap. Something's wrong there. Frank Sabuku, you need to check that. You do. That's not a random mistake. That is a departure from common sense. It is. All right. So he gives this tepid congratulatory message. And he even goes as far as saying, "Anyway, I have nothing more to say. I'll just leave it at that." I looked at him and I thought, brother, you are lost in the wilderness. You don't even know where you are. It would have been better for you to just keep quiet rather than give that tepid congratulatory message. How many people know that the famous Oprah Winfrey once said, when people show you who they are, believe them. Believe them. And sometimes when we show people who we are, it makes it worse when we try to fix it and it comes across as fake. It's better that we just keep quiet rather than coming on social media and pretending to give a true, authentic, congratulatory message. That comes across as cheap, and in fact, it's offensive. Why? Because people see through it. You know, it's more authentic for Nguzu to say what he said on stage, because that's how he really feels. The word of God says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. When Nguzu was on that political platform and he said, that's how he truly felt. That was authentic. But when he stood after HH won and then he sat in front of a camera and said, my congratulations to the president, that was fake as hell. And it's more offensive because we know it's not true. We see right through you. I hate that. I cannot stand it when people do that. I would rather that you just stick with your authentic self. I do. Right. Well, I thought I'd share that with you guys. Tell me what you think. Tell me in the comments. Tell me in the comments. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to go vlog for a little bit. So if you're interested in what's happening at Simoson area, in the Simoson area, I'm going to be live again on Facebook right here. And we're going to walk around, show you around. It's beautiful. I love it. I love doing that. Tell me what you think about what we've just discussed. I'd be grateful. Thanks, guys. God bless.